Yo, peace was good. Welcome to another hip hop album review. This is part 191. I know it's been about 2 weeks since I did a review. The last review I did was no, I'm sorry, 2 months ago. Excuse me. I know the last one I did was Shaheem's, aka the Rugged Child. Yeah, man. So sorry about the delays. It's been busy with um, the unreleased and shelved albums. I know everybody loved that series so far. I've been getting a lot of good responses about that, but I had to put a stop to it because I feel like with 90 albums, that should be good enough to check out some of those albums, and I'm pretty sure there's more albums to be talked about. But like I said, I want to focus on the reviews. The album that I would like to review this evening is Craig Mack's debut album, Project Funk the World, released in 1994. But before I start, I'm going to say rest in peace to Craig Mack. He passed away last month, particularly March 12, 2018, which is about a month and 6 days because we're on the 8th. This is April 18, 2018, alright? He died of I believe it's called, he died of heart failure, but I believe the term was congestive heart failure, something like that. So, but anyways, but now getting into Craig Mack. For those who know who Craig Mack is an MC from Brentwood, Long Island, Suffolk County. Shout out to all my peoples out in Long Island, Roosevelt, Hempstead, Freeport, all of my peoples out there. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because where I used to live in Queens, one day I was just bored, and then I went on Google Maps like the other day, and I typed in my old address in Queens, and I typed in my old address going to Brentwood, and it's exactly 2 hours. Like, that's crazy. That's nuts. Because Long Island is big, but it's small at the same time. Like, same thing with the whole New York City. It's big, but it's small at the same time. Meaning, like, where I lived in Queens, I could get to Long Island in 10 minutes. Like, that's how fast it is, how quick it is. Like, where I'm at in Queens, I'm more closer to, like, Valley Stream, things like that. Because Green Acres Mall is in Valley Stream. Even though a lot of people consider that, like to call that Queens, but it's really Long Island, Valley Stream, because it's so close to each other. It's right next to Rosedale, and I can get to, because you have Rosedale, you have Laurelton, Springfield Gardens, obviously. Then you got like Hollis, Queens Village, Cambria Heights, Elmont. All those places so close to each other. So like it's so close to each other. You know what I mean? So, but enough for the geography. And then you got also, then you got Hempstead. Then you got Garden City. They got Roosevelt, home of Public Enemy. Then you got Uniondale, and all those places and stuff like that. So, but enough of the geography lessons. You're not here for that. But anyways, Craig Mack, being from Brentwood, Long Island, home of EPMD, Eric Sermon, and Paris Smith. He was affiliated with them for a minute, for a couple years. Known for their affiliation for EPM, like I said, they're affiliated with EPMD. He was their roadie, but at the same time, he was also an MC. He went by the name. His stage name at the time was MC Easy, and he put out a 12-inch. It was called Get Retarded and Just Rhyming. So he put that out. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I remember seeing that, years ago about that 12-inch, but I never really checked it out because I was so used to his 90s stuff, so I didn't really give his early stuff a chance. And so when I heard it, I was like, oh, okay, that's just pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie, I heard it after he died, but I'm still a fan though. So I mean, I know people are gonna say like, oh, you're not a real fan, like, but I have the album, and I had it for a while. I had it since '02, but I'll talk about that after. But yeah, man. So I heard the joints, very dope. Sounded very ahead of its time. He's like more energetic on the album, on those songs. The beats sound like something that would have sound like very updated. Sound like something that could have been made in like 1990, 1991. Like that's how dope those joints are. So very dope stuff. Um, and then after 1991, he cut ties with EPMD. I'm pretty sure on a good terms and things like that. And one of the security guards, or like the head of security for EPMD, knew Puff. And I guess Craig Mack had a demo. He gave it to Puff. Puff like what he heard, and the rest is history. And that's how he got with Bad Boy Records. And Craig Mack's appearance, like his worldwide appearance that people know him for, was actually on Mary J. Blige's remix album. What's the 411 remix album? And it was a song called what's the song? It was a remix. I think it's called "Don't Worry." And let me see. Oh, You Don't Have to Worry. That's what it's called. You Don't Have to Worry. And there is a video for that. It's on YouTube. You guys can check that out. He's on the video. So I kind of like give the people notice, like, okay, this is like the new artist of Bad Boy Records. Because even though Mary J. Blige isn't part of Bad Boy Records, but at the time, Puffy was he was with MCA Uptown Records, which is the record label that Mary J. Blige was under at the time and stuff like that. So he broke out of MCA, started his own shit, Bad Boy Records. Craig Mack being the first MC of Bad Boy Records, and the rest is history. So, like what you heard from the demo, people was loving the remix, the You Don't Have to Worry remix, and they started working on this album, and then we have this album right here. Alright, so as you guys know, I'm gonna go through some of the tracks, but before I start, there's 3 singles of the album. The singles are Flavor in Your Ear, Get Down, and Making Moves with Puff. Those are the 3 singles of the album. Alright, the producers in the album. There's 3 producers, Craig Mack, Easy Mo Beat, and Rashad Smith. And some other dude named Lester Lenny Marrow. Not sure who he is, but he co-produced 2 tracks that Craig Mack did. So those just add him on that too. So you know how I get down. I'm gonna show you guys what the album looks like. As you can see Craig Mack kicking his feet right there. Right behind the Flushing Meadows Globe in Flushing, Queens. You know what I mean? Very legendary monument in Queens, New York, and stuff like that. Pretty dope. And you can see Craig Mack, like kind of like the film negatives, look like the project and shit. Pretty dope. Show you what the album looks like. What the CD looks like. As you can see, this is like the original Bad Boy logo before they changed it and stuff like that. But this is the OG pressing. From what I understand, I don't think it's ever been re-released, so good luck trying to find that, because it's hard to find now. And now, you know how it is when somebody dies, people's gonna want to price gouge the fucking CDs and shit. It just pisses me off. I shared a rant about that years ago. Let me open it up. That's what it looks like. Got the... Is it mine? Oh shit, sorry about that. Yeah, so here's... I guess it's like the rest of the album, because it's like When God Comes, but I don't remember if there was more or anything like that. But anyways, whatever. This is the lyrics of When God Comes. Pretty dope song. I'll talk more about that. Craig Mack, like the logo, his thank you, the shoutouts, and all that good stuff. Then you got the track listing. You know what I mean? Pretty dope. And like I said, this is Craig Mack right in front of the Flushing Meadows Globe in Flushing Meadows, Queens. Alright, you know how I get down. I'm gonna go through some of the tracks I usually do. Track 1, Project Funk the World. It's just an intro. It's a braggadocio track, and it's just him rapping. It kind of sets the tone of the album. It's like a funky, jazzy beat, kind of thing. Pretty dope. You know what I mean? Nothing to it. Braggadocio. And that's another thing too with this album. A lot of the tracks are braggadocio tracks because he doesn't really have a lot of subject matter. It's just a lot more. I'm better than this. Like a lot of battle rhymes within the songs and stuff like that. So let me just throw that out there. So expect a lot of braggadocio tracks and things like that. Um, Track two, Get Down. I believe that was the second single of the album. That was produced by Easy Mo B. Very dope. Love the lyrics on that joint right there. Definitely went in on that joint right there. That came out right after Flavor Your Ear, because Flavor Your Ear was actually the first single. And Get Down, it was somewhat successful, but not as successful um as Flavor in Your Ear, you know what I mean? Because that's the song that kind of catapulted, not only Bad Boy Records, but Craig Mack's career, and like people wanted more. But yeah, Get Down, second single, very dope joint right there. I highly recommend you guys. I'm pretty sure you guys know about it because I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard it before. But please check out the Q-Tip remix of Get Down. Oh my god. That shit is dope. I love that joint. I kind of like it better than the OG version of the album version. But the album version is dope, but it's just something about the remix. It has like more of a bounce, like, you know what I mean? It's like you can tell, like, when you play that in the clubs, like you can get down at that with that shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's Get Down, the second single. That's number 2. Number 3, Making Moves with Puff. Dope video. You just see him rapping in front of, like, looks like what is like City Hall. The only thing about that video is a little cheesy, because you see, Puffy always fucking dancing in the videos, just like Shook says, him dancing and things like that. And then you see like the big explosion, the fire explosion. I thought that was a little bit corny, but other than that, dope video. Love the beat. Nice use of the Stevie Wonder sample of that. That was produced by Rashad Smith. I mentioned Rashad Smith before. He's worked with Busta Rhymes, Puffy, L Cool J, especially around like the Mr. Smith album. Did a couple joints on that album. What else? He worked with Busta Rhymes. I believe he's worked with Boyz II Men. He's worked with a lot of people. Very underrated producer. He's worked with Rampage, The Last Boy Scout. He did a couple joints on his first album that never came out, The Red October, that didn't really come out until like a couple years ago digitally. But I think he did a joint on his debut album that came out in '97, the Scouts on the Way of Blood. Scouts on. I think he did like a track or two on that joint, and things like that. But yeah, very dope producer, very underrated. Doesn't really get talked a lot, but I think he's definitely a dope producer. But yeah, that's Making Move with Puff. That's track 3, very dope joint right there. Number 4, That's Y'all. That was produced by Craig Mack himself. Craig Mack and Letty Morrow. Very dope track. Is a braggadocio track. The bass line for that song is very deep, very bassy. If you have like a system in your car, you play that joint right there will probably blow your speakers. Like, that's how deep the bass line is, but it's very dope. I fucks with that song right there. Track 5, Flavor in Your Ear, first single of the album. Like I said, that song is such a timeless song, man. The beat for that joint is just so dope. It's just like a guitar lick, and then he has like spacey sounds to the beat, nice drums, the drum pattern is dope and things like that. It has like a futuristic kind of vibe to it, you know what I mean? Very ahead of its time, very original, you know what I mean? Very, very dope. And it's crazy too, because when I first heard that song back in '95, I want to say, I heard the remix first. I heard the remix because obviously the first verse was by Biggie, and all these years I thought that was a Biggie song, but it wasn't. It was Craig Mack's song. And that song, Flavor in Your Ear, because of that song, like I said, it catapulted the success of Bad Boy Records, is what got the label recognized. And in fact, because of that song is the reason why Craig Mack was the first MC or artist on Bad Boy Records to go platinum. Because the album went gold, but the single itself went platinum. So, and I feel like Craig Mack doesn't really get the credit or the respect, or he doesn't really get the credit that he deserves. You know what I mean? Now people know, but before that, people wasn't really talking about that because Biggie, kind of overshadowed, Craig Mack's career. But I'll talk more about that, and later on in the video. But yeah, Flavor Year, very dope joint right there, dope shit. Track 6, Flavor Year, produced by Easy Mo B. You guys can definitely check him out on Instagram. He always plays like his beats straight off the SP 1200. Like when Craig Mack died, he played the Get Down song. He played the Flavor in Your Ear song live and stuff like that. He does that all the time, so it's pretty dope. Track 6, Funk with the Style. That was produced by Craig Mack and Lenny Marrow. Very dope beat. Nice use of the Blind Alley sample by the Emotions. Kane, Big Daddy Kane used that for Ain't No Half Steppin'. Das Effects used it for Clap Your Hands, one of my favorite songs off that album. And it's very very familiar sample. If you're an old school head, you've heard that sample before. But yeah, nice use of that sample, very dope, braggadocious track. Track 7, Judgment Day, pretty dope joint. That's produced by Easy Mo B. In that song, he plays God, and pretty much he's just playing God's wrath to whack MCs. All you whack MCs, trying to rap, this gangster rap shit, this commercial shit. He's just, using God's rap to wipe all the whack MCs on that joint right there. And that's what I got from Judgment Day. Very dope beat, too. Track 8, Real Raw. That was produced by Craig Mack. That's a pretty interesting track because the sample that was used was, I didn't know it was, he used the Days of Our Lives theme song to use that beat. It's a bass line, the theme song, and very dope. All these years, I didn't know he used that until I was doing some research and I saw it says Days of Our Lives. I was like, get the fuck out of here. That's crazy. So I listened to the theme song on YouTube. Then I played the song again. I'm like, oh shit. But it's dope because the way it sounds, it has kind of like a creepy, kind of like a menacing feel to it with the bass line and the hard drums, and with the sample being so light. But the sample, it makes it sound more menacing with the bass line and the drums and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Craig Mack is actually a pretty dope producer, man. Look, his beats are very stripped down and things like that, man. All these years, I never knew he made beats. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, it's been years since I heard this album, and just because when I do my reviews, I like to do research and things I know, which I didn't know, kind of refresh my memory and things like that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So that's Real Raw. Like I said, a braggadocious track, nothing to it. Track 9, Mainline. That was produced by Easy Mo B. That was a song I could have done without. I just felt like the beat was kind of weak, which, my opinion, can make or break a song, depending on the person, individual. The lyrics are dope as usual, but alright, sorry about that, guys. Like I said, it depends on the individual, it depends on the person, depends on the MC. But I just felt like it was kind of weak, especially for Easy Mo B, because it's just a bass line and drums and kick and snares and hi-hats and a bass line. It's just and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of songs in the 90s that has those same formulas, but I just feel like he could have done a little bit more to the beat. You know what I mean? It's a little bit too simple. But sometimes that's not always a bad thing, because sometimes a simplified beat can enhance, MC's lyrics could enhance the song more. But in this case, knowing Easy Mo B, I expected more, and so I felt like that song Mainline was kind of like the weak track of the album. But it's a cool track, but it just wasn't for me. I just wasn't feeling that. Track 10, my favorite song off the album, or one of my favorites, is When God Comes. very, very dope song. In this song, he just talks about how he actually, talks about how he believes in God and things of that nature. Yeah, he believes in God, and talks about he kind of criticizes like the current state of hip hop at the time, where it was like all gangster rap and materialistic hip hop and things like that. And he talks about how all that stuff, like it's fucked up. It's not a good way to teach the kids. Y'all better than that. Just saying that like you have to step your game up when the time comes, because we all gonna die one day, and you gotta get yourself right. Make yourself right. Pay your dues, things like that. And when your time comes, then God will receive you and things like that. And that's what I got from that joint right there. And it's crazy too, because when I first heard the news that Craig Mack died, the first song that popped in my head was that song "When God Comes." It's crazy too, because I think it was Eric Sermon that he did an interview. They did an interview with where like he was saying like how Craig Mack called him 6 months before his death, saying like, "Yo, I was given like a couple months to live. I have a heart disease and things like that." So he told a very select few people. Like he told Eric Sermon, he told DJ Scratch, things like that. And I thought I was kind of sad to hear, but it's crazy. But at least it gave people, and obviously like his family, and it gave people time to prepare. When he dies, like, okay, we know he's suffering, but when he dies, like, okay, it's sad, but you're relieved. And that's what I got from that joint where God Comes. Very dope. And track 11, the last track, when Welcome to 1994, that's pretty much the outro of the album. Very dope song. I think he has like a verse or two. He doesn't really rap much. He just keeps saying what does he keep saying? Welcome to 1994, something. I don't remember, but the bass line is so dope, and it just reminds me of something that EPMD would have done back in like around 91, 92. For the Business Never Personal album. It just has that vibe to it with the hard drums and the bass line, the style of the bass line. Very, very dope, man. And overall, man, very dope album. This is a classic album, hip hop classic. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, very, very dope. It's a shame this album never got re-released. Just because of the fact that the album actually came out like a week after Ready to Die by Biggie, and because Biggie's album came before Craig Mack's album, it kind of overshadowed Biggie's success of that album, overshadowed Craig Mack's career and things like that. If this album would have come out maybe a couple months before, like May, June, July, I think it would have been a lot more successful. But like I said, the album went gold, but the single "Flavor in Your Ear" went platinum, and like I said, made Craig Mack the Give me 1 second. It made Craig Mack the first artist on Bad Boy Records to go platinum. And the story with this album, how I got it was back in 2002, and I remember Special Delivery Remix came out, and the video came out at that time, right? So everybody knows the song consisted of G-Dep, Keith Murray, Ghostface Killer, Keith Murray, and last but not least, Craig Mack. Everybody's verse was dope, but what stood out to me was Craig Mack's, and I was like, and then I heard Craig Mack's verse, I was like, yo, I was enamored, yo. I was like, yo, I have to get this thing's album. So boom, at the time I was going to high school in Jamaica, Queens, Thomas Edison High School, and I went to my usual stores that I used to go to, like Music Factory, which is no longer in business, Hot Wax. They didn't have it. That's also out of business. So I went to Green Acres Mall. Then I went to Circus City, they didn't have it. Rest in peace to Circus City. I went to Green Acres Mall. I went to FYE when they had FYE there. They didn't have it. But then I went to the store called The Wiz. And The Wiz was pretty much like a smaller scale of Circus City. You know, but it was more known like in the tri-state area, like Jersey, CT, New York, and stuff like that. So I went there. I had found it. I went downstairs because downstairs was like the music section. So I went downstairs. They only had like one copy, and I copped that shit, man. So I was so happy. And I think they had a copy of Operation Get Down, which I need to get my hands on. And got it. I think it was like $15.99. A little pricey, but you know, I was like, you know what? I had to get it because at the time the album was hard to find. So finally got my hands on it, got it, loved it since, man. I had a Discman, and and the Discman at the time, you know, had like the anti-skips thing. Even though it would work sometimes it wouldn't. All my OGs know what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, I played that shit on the bus ride home. Was loving every second of that shit right there, man. Very dope. Miss those days, man. But yeah, man, if you guys can find this album, definitely pick it up. Dope album. And one other thing too, I want to mention, with his funeral, there's been a lot of speculation about, you know, celebrities not being able to go to the funeral. And the reason why he wasn't able to go to the funeral, rumors have it, was because DJ Scratch attended the funeral, and he said that no celebrities came to the funeral. And there's been a lot of rumors saying the reason why no other celebrities were able to go to the funeral was because of the religious cult that Craig Mack was with when he was down in South Carolina. They kind of had control of that funeral, which I think is kind of cryptic. Kind of reminded me of like how Solar did with Guru and stuff like that. Yeah, that whole thing is very shaky. It's very shady. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of reminded me of that. But your legacy lives on, brother. Craig Mack, very dope. And I forgot to mention Craig Mack himself. I think he released it himself. Is a compilation album called The Mack Sessions. It's songs that were recorded between 2000 and 2006. It was supposed to be what was supposed to be his third album that was supposed to be dropped back in 2002, but it never came out. So I guess the songs from that period put into one CD, and it's called The Mack Sessions. So you guys can check that out. But that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that review. Y'all still stay tuned. Be easy. Peace.